Yo, 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 what is up? Lions Den listeners, we got someone in the house today, but we can't tell you who it is. Just kidding. What's up, Lions Den listeners? How's it going? It's good to be back. This is episode 3, and we have some cool information for you guys today. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about specifically are some information on meditation and this cool new product I just purchased today that I just tested it out and I literally felt the effects within 20 minutes. So I wanted to leave the floor open first before we get into these kind of topics. And then if you guys ever want us to hear us chat about anything, just post it in the chat link or the chat box below.
Or in the comments.
And we can talk about your topics. So that way it's not always about us. We always want to talk about whatever you guys want to hear as well. So just make sure.
And we're trying to learn too, so if you know something, put us on.
For real, 100%. So what do you think that you could, talk about meditation? What do you think that you could explain, how it's affected you positively? Why one should do it? When did you start?
Yeah. I guess when I started getting into meditation pretty heavy was when I was 21. I was hanging out with a friend who was meditating all the time, and I got on the wave. And it's kind of cool because it gives you a fresh reset. It's kind of like the feeling after you take a nap a lot of times, how it affects your brain and shit, and lets you just come in with a whole re-energized feel. But there's a lot of different types of meditation. The one that I mainly practice is just not thinking about anything at all, trying to clear my mind 100% meditation, which is definitely cool, but there's a lot of different routes you can go with it. But yeah, I've been doing meditation pretty consistently since then, so 4 years. I meditate 10 to 15 minutes every day, and it just gives me a really calm presence walking through life.
Mm-hmm. For sure, and like you were saying, there's a bunch. So there's guided meditations, thoughtless meditation, and I met a guy. It was a work call or something. I met a guy who told me that he could do thoughtless meditation for 40 minutes straight, and obviously that would be an incredible goal to have. But when you think about thoughtless meditation, and you get to that point, that takes years and years and years of practice. And why thoughtless meditation is so beneficial is because we're always around distractions advertisements, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're always receiving information, and we're doing it quickly, which makes our minds race and think about a lot of things in a small amount of time. And what meditation allows you to do, especially thoughtless meditation, is it allows you to just kind of take a step back and be present for a moment, and allow you to collect your thoughts, and allow you to focus on your breathing for a moment and just get into a centered state, which is going to kind of replenish your mind and allow you to think more clearly and have more energy and just be more in a centered state throughout the day. So one thing that I started to do when I started to learn meditation was, and for those of you that don't know, actually probably none of you know because none of you know me, but one thing that I struggle with is that my mind used to race at 1,000,000 miles an hour about a lot of things, always thinking about something. What's the next move? What's this? What's that? What am I gonna do here? I was always just on the go, and when I started meditating, it wasn't very fun for me because my mind was racing and I didn't know how to calm myself down. So one thing that I started to focus on was just counting my breathing silently in my mind. So I would literally just count from 300 down to 0. And for those of you who think 300 is a lot, do it from 10 to 0, and then increase your numbers, and then just focus on large 4-second counts in and large 4-second counts out, and just focus on the number, or focus on whatever number that you're trying to get to. And then once you get to that number without getting distracted, increase the number all the way up to 300, and then you'll get to a point where you'll start to have moments where you're in a thoughtless state. And the reason why a thoughtless state is the most beneficial state is because that's when you're at a full 100% peaceful and more of a centered feeling where it's really euphoric. And that's where real recovery and real rejuvenation occurs, is when you're just not trying to do anything and you're just there. You know, you're just in that moment, and nothing else is affecting you from getting into that state. And then once you you know, start to get good at it, you can increase the time where you don't have thoughts and things like that. But it's
it just gives your brain like a chance to just not think about anything for fucking once. Like
Yeah.
even when you're sleeping at nighttime, you're thinking. Like
Yeah,
your brain's
exactly.
always on the go.
Yeah, exactly. And if you expect to grow mentally or physically and just spiritually, it's a huge advantage. And you know, it's actually a lot of fun too. Like you'll be able to get the effects rather quickly, which is going to make you almost an addict of it. And
Yeah, it's a good feeling. And if you have anxiety, like I know a lot of people are prone to anxiety in today's world, so it'll kind of give you a break from that for a second and just let you calm yourself down. One time I took Adderall and I was like really hyped up off of it, and I literally meditated for like 30 minutes, and when I was done, I was completely sober, had none of the effects anymore of the Adderall at all.
damn.
Like it was just like a crazy meditation, and you snap my body out of it completely.
That's insane. Yeah,
So yeah, it's a powerful thing.
for sure. And then
The opposite end of meditation in your hand.
yeah, so I have this product that I purchased today from Whole Foods, but you can get it online. And this is another thing that I wanted to talk about before we got into like the full spiel of what we're going to get into today. But it's called Bulletproof Brain Octane Oil, and it says on the label, rocket fuel for your brain and body. And our homie here knows a little bit more about it than I do, so I'm gonna like pass it on to him and kind of let him explain how it works. But the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because I literally tried this shit earlier today, and within 20 minutes I felt the effects of it right away. And for those of you who drink caffeine and understand how caffeine works, and sometimes can get too edgy, you know, like myself on caffeine, this shit when I put into my coffee made me feel more leveled, centered, and control of like, you know, my emotions and just like, you know, my overall energy. And you know, for those of you who are looking for like a nice good clean boost, I highly recommend it, because I'm feeling extra good right now. And it's you know, there's a lot of good stuff in this, so I'm gonna let our homie here kind of explain it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna act like I'm an expert or anything. I really don't know that much about this in particular product. It's called Brain Active Oil. It's part of the Bulletproof coffee recipe and everything. But yeah, there's a lot of saturated fats in it, and it really helps your brain develop these things called ketones and run off of those a little bit. Like when you have a higher fat diet, it's a lot different than having a high carb diet, which is what most Americans are on right now. And your brain just responds to different types of fuels. It has like pretty much two main fuels you can run off of: ketones, which your body produces, and you can get from some endogenous foods like this brain octane oil, or it runs off of glucose, which is pretty much sugar and anything that breaks down into sugar, which is like all pastas, breads, carbohydrates. So yeah, it's just like a different thing for your brain to run off of. Gives your brain that nice like alert like feeling that a lot of people love coffee for, and just gives you a clear, focused way of thinking. So
And you can put it on your salads, put it on your smoothies, put it in your coffee if you want. You know, it's just like a nice oil. So highly recommend you guys checking that shit out, because it is fire and we're loving it.
yeah, it's good stuff. I don't know that much about this. We're gonna find out more in the future, but these things are definitely cool. It's kind of cool just learning all the different things that your body can run off of. You know what I mean? And just how your body works.
So what are you running? You know, what kind of nutrients are you putting into your body right now to get you up and running every single day, high energy?
Yeah,
What are you consuming? What's your diet look like?
A huge thing in my life lately has been fasting. So I'm doing intermittent fasting, which is like 14 to 16 hours a day. So I'm like eating within a 10 to 8 hour period. And it just gives you kind of a clear thinking. Like humans, for the most part of our history, have not been able to eat all day every day, and now we are all on that diet, it seems like. So I would do that, but when I am eating, I eat a lot of vegetables, and it's probably not 100% good, but I'm a vegan, so I eat a lot of soy proteins as well. And I'm still like on the fence about that, but I know overall I'm way healthier than I used to be, so it's kind of like a constant process. But
Why did you choose to go vegan?
a lot of different reasons. I mean, to help the earth out, to help myself out, to help animals out, like all of those reasons. Like, I felt like there's a lot of negative energy in most of the meats that people eat. 98% of the meats on the market are like factory farmed, and it's just got a lot of negative energy in it. And then also it's just, you know what I mean, we're breeding things just to kill them. Like, it's modern day slavery. So I kind of really feel bad about that, and I don't want to ever support that industry again. And it made me feel a lot better just by becoming more health conscious about what I was eating, and kind of has grown that.
So what, on a daily basis, just so like for people that don't know much about veganism, what would you say, you know, that you eat every single day, that you need to eat every single day? Like,
that's good for you?
Yeah. What are like
I would say the healthiest foods for you is just anything that grows in nature. Like, anything that grows in nature is like some of the best foods for you. Natural stuff, not man-made stuff. So vegetables. I think fruits are good. I don't eat a lot of fruits personally because I'm trying to cut sugar out. But I think vegetables, nuts, fats, avocados, things like that. And I think some meats are healthy for you too. I think there's a lot of meat out there that is healthy for you. It's just a question of, are you actually eating that if you are eating meat?
Yeah. And another thing is too, is like there's definitely a lot of good nutrients in meat, and like meat is, you know, hands down one of the most healthiest things that people can put in their bodies, you know, like good red meat or steaks or, you know, a nice salmon fillet or whatever it is that you like to eat. But my theory on it is like that energy is always transferred from one form to the next, and if that animal is in like a negative state or a stressful state when it's killed, or like a panic state, I personally believe that, you know, and this, I learned this from a monk. He's a Shaolin monk from China. So I didn't just pull this out of thin air, and he's an extremely spiritually sound person, and, you know, I trust, you know, most of the things he says. You know, he means well. But he kind of enlightened me and said that like energy is always transferred from one form to the next, and this is something that's like scientifically proven. So this isn't a theory. You know, energy is never created nor destroyed. It's always transferred. It's a proven fact. So the fact that energy is always transferred, or you know, transferred or what have you, it means that if the animal that you're consuming was in a negative state or a panic state or a state of negativity, then technically when you consume that, you're consuming a similar vibration or a lower frequency of that animal, because that was the state that it was in. So even though meat can technically be some of the healthiest things, that's very true, but the reason why that meat's healthy is because it's eating things from the earth, which means that technically you should be able to get the same nutrients because they got the nutrients from the earth to begin with, right? So if they're eating the nutrients from the earth and they're that healthy, we should have no reason to, you know, do anything different.
And that's where protein from animals comes from too, is them eating plants. All protein comes from plants.
Yeah, like how many huge ass cows do you know that are like, you know, eating deer, right? Like these things are massive animals. Elephants, massive animals that have never once.
Gorillas.
Yeah, gorillas is a perfect example because those are like the closest to us. You've never once seen them, you know, devour another a living organism and you know, kill it. So it just makes you think that you know, sometimes, you know, when we're taught to, you know, think certain things or do certain things, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way, even though we were like raised, you know, upon doing these kind of things. So my point is, I don't want that kind of energy in me, and I think that, you know, us as humans, you know, if we can live off of not consuming life itself, and I've personally been healthier than I've ever been, then, you know, why can't everyone else, you know, like.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're just finding a balance. Like, we're even finding a balance in our lives with it, you know what I mean? And being open to swinging a little bit back from the pendulum that we've swung on all the way on one end, so.
Yeah, and it's all a transfer of energy. So, like, again, that negative state of that animal that you're consuming, you know, that's the kind of frequency that you're, you know, aligned with. That's the kind of frequency that you're consuming. So, like, all these diseases, all of these sicknesses, illnesses, you know, food poisoning, etc., that's the low frequency of the food that you're consuming, which is giving you those kind of results. Like, people in America are more overweight here than anywhere else on the entire planet. You know, like, health is a huge issue, cancer is a huge issue, and since I've stopped consuming what I was, you know, told that I should be eating growing up, you know, meat, dairy, etc., I haven't been sick in over 2.5 years, and I haven't even seen a doctor. I don't even have a doctor because I don't believe I need one at this point. So it's just
but
pretty.
Also, we're on a crazy diet too, so I feel like it's definitely a smart move to get some advice. Like,
no, definitely.
You know what I mean? We're just learning, and everybody's body's different too. Is the crazy thing about this earth. Like everybody's body functions differently on different shit.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying that you guys should go vegan and not have a doctor. Like I'm a wild person, but but don't. But just understand by our results and how good we're feeling and how happy we are to be in this position. Like, we just want to share it and understand that, you know, if you take good care of your health and like you learn a little bit more about what you're doing and you just question why you're doing what you're doing instead of just doing what everyone else does, you'll see that your path can be a lot brighter and more fun and enjoyable for yourself by just thinking for yourself for a second and questioning what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and
thinking twice. I mean, just thinking once at least about the things you're consuming. Like, if you're still on the McDonald's fast food wave, like, bruh, you got some catching up to do. Like, that's step one for you. Cut that out. Cut pop out. Like, cut those things out of your life that you just everybody knows is bad for you, and then make that next move up the ladder.
Yeah, and if you're one of those people that's on like an extremely unhealthy diet, don't try to do too much at once. Like he was saying, just slowly cut off, like ease off of what you're consuming, calculate how much you're consuming, and understand that like this isn't a chore, it's your health. And no matter how wealthy or no matter how rich you get, you can never buy your health back. So the second you have some kind of a disease that money can't buy is the first moment of regret that you're going to feel, and you can't change anything about it. So like acknowledge first that like maybe what you're doing probably isn't the best for you, and just slowly chip away and take away things that aren't giving you the proper nutrients that you need to be doing on a daily basis.
Holding you back on thinking, like, and that's where you're making decisions from, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Just holding your entire life back if you're eating those foods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And just chip away. So, you know, don't try to do too much in the beginning. Just simply, you know, slowly lean off of the shit that's kind of, you know, making you feel bloated or giving you a headache, or, you know, the fucking double cheeseburger from McDonald's that's making you like have the worst shits. You know, like it's just those are signals that your body's trying to tell you and say, hey, like this isn't what I need to be consuming. And then the reason why you need to eat more of it is because your body needs more nutrients that it didn't get that day, which makes you believe that you're actually hungry, which you're not. It just needs the nutrients that you didn't give it that day. So just be very cautious and awake about what you're consuming, and understand that it's a huge advantage when you put your health first, because now your brain can function a lot better than what it can function at. You have more energy, which allows you to be a better performing human to do the things that you want to do with your life.
Yeah.
Cool. Heaters on this one already. We love it. But yeah, meditation and good food, man. Like those are two huge components to really trimming down the time to reach your goals. You're giving your mind and your brain such a huge advantage. You know,
and
thoughts
even where
and
you can send your goals, like where you can even set them at.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you'll begin to realize that the more in tune you are with yourself by taking actions like this, the more life seems like it's this amazing playground that you're in control 100% of the time, and you can create any kind of situation or any kind of experience you want, because you have the proper energy, the proper fuel, and the proper mindset to do so. So now that we've talked about you know, food and meditation, why don't you share some like personal development or some growth or some kind of information that you could let these people know that has also helped you get to where you want to be as well?
Yeah, I mean, food and meditation are two huge things. I would say, honestly, like one of the biggest things you can possibly do is follow your heart. Like at the end of the day, like find out what you actually want to do. Like so many people are doing stuff that doesn't align with their talent. I did this for a while. Honestly, for a while was trying to concentrate on stuff I'm not even that great at. And I have a whole bunch of talents that I'm really good at. So like, now the last few months I've really been investing a lot of time in those things, and like I'm happier, I'm more confident, like I feel like my life's going in the right direction, like, and it's like you just have to, nobody can tell you those things, nobody can really tell you. You just have to like figure out where your strong points are and focus on those things and find the things that you enjoy doing every day. Like
yeah, focusing on or pinpointing on what you're doing well already, and then just learn how to do it better.
Yeah.
And have fun with it, most importantly. If you're good at something and you don't enjoy it, I'd probably recommend that you don't do it.
Yeah, switch up to something else. If you want to really get great at something, you have to really like love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. It's those kind of things that are like, you know, if you're working at some kind of job and you're good at it and you're making money, but you don't have time to do what you want to do and it doesn't fulfill you. At the end of the day, you have to understand that you probably have 20 other skills that you haven't found yet because you haven't done enough soul searching to figure out that there's a better plan for you. And just know that like there's always options, you know, and especially if you live in America, like you have YouTube that you can learn from. You have
there's infinite different things you could be at this point.
Yeah.
You can make up your own job if you really want to. Like.
Yeah, and just know that no matter where you're at right now, or no matter what your circumstances are, or where you come from or who you know, like you still have the power to create any kind of situation or any kind of lifestyle that you want to live, because that's how powerful our minds are. And if you can just leverage your mind without making excuses, then you know you can create the life that you've always wanted to create. And understand that information is so easily obtainable that you can Google search or YouTube search or anything that you want to learn. And if you're just a smidge good at it and you love it, you know, then the sky's the limit, because you're going to get obsessed when you get results. So
yeah, exactly. You just have more fun, just getting better and better. You start getting recognition and people appreciating what you're doing too. That's like an amazing feeling to know that people see that same talent in you. So
yeah. So like, who's maybe inspired you, or who are your, you know, like, who do you love learning from? Who's someone where you've been able to gain information or intellect from that's like maybe raised your awareness or consciousness about what you're doing?
You.
other than me, though. That's a really good answer, though.
But yeah, I mean, I try to learn from everybody a little bit. I feel like everyone has something to teach me, but as far as like helping me get on the right path.
Hold on, let me freeze you there, because that was a fucking awesome line. Everyone has something to teach you. So before you go on, I want to talk about this just for a second, but like understand that like even the people that you don't like or the people that you don't enjoy being around, they're teaching you something. They could either be teaching you like what not to do, what not to be like, or they can also teach you how to be grateful that you don't act the way that, you know, they rubbed you off negatively or whatever. So that is like one of my most favorite lines, and a way for you to not become so judgmental as a human. Even though someone else doesn't, or you don't agree with like how someone else lives their lives, that's like a huge reason for you to be grateful for where you're at, and you can learn like what not to do from someone else, which makes it that much easier for you to figure out what you need to be doing just by like learning from someone else. So like I love that line in itself, just because people when they see haters, they start hating on the haters. And it's like,
just shooting back at them.
Yeah, it's like there's no point to do that. Like all you're doing is just learning what not to do from these people. Not to fire back at them and then do the same shit that they're doing. Yeah. So anytime you see someone hating on social media, talking shit, reality TV, whatever, just learn what not to do, and just absorb the information without giving a reaction, and you'll have a lot more fun, and you'll get so smart from it, you know, without just doing it.
If you look at, I mean, just looking at life from the perspective that you always have something to learn from every situation or every person, like it's just like a good mind state to have, because you're always taking in like a new way to shift your perspective.
Yeah, exactly. You're always learning every second of the day, every minute of the day. You're learning, not judging or criticizing, but just absorbing information, and then, you know, get to a point where you can apply that information, you know, with ease. The more you learn it and the more you apply it. But
go back to how to navigate this map of the world we're trying to accomplish.
Exactly. But I wanted to, you know, just kind of share that before he got into like who he likes to learn from. So go back to that and share some people that have kind of like really kick-started your journey.
Yeah, kick-started my journey? Well, I mean...
Kickstart, and then people you listen to now, you know, kind of how you built up to your level of awareness and consciousness, huh?
I guess in the beginning, I mean, obviously the whole way, it's like I said, it's been everyone and peers around me especially, but like Think and Grow Rich was some of this first stuff, learning The Secret and about the law of attraction, like got me thinking this way. And then I'm trying to even... I mean, Alan Watts has been huge every step of the way.
Alan Watts is like God in human form.
Yeah, listen to his voice. His voice sounds like it.
You need to figure anything out. Just YouTube Alan Watts.
Yeah,
Alan Watts and the things you
fall
wanna work
asleep
on.
to it. Honestly,
Yeah.
that's the way to go. Fall asleep to some Alan Watts.
For real, I definitely support him for sure.
Yeah.
But who else?
Wayne Dyer has been huge. He's like
Who's he?
he's a huge spiritual guru. He died a few years ago, unfortunately, but he was like a very enlightened human being. So he was dope. Abraham Hicks has been huge. And yeah, lately it's been people like Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan. I've been learning a lot from. I've been listening to so many podcasts lately, like just consuming new information. Like I'm hungry, so hungry for information. Like,
why are you hungry for information?
I don't know. It's just like different. I'm learning so many new things that are just increasing my results in life, and I just feel like the world is so close to just like being anything I want to create with it, and it's just like I want to get there as fast as possible.
Yeah, and guys, just so you know, like information is just brain food and leverage that you're giving your mind to do whatever it is that you want to do. So when someone, the best way to like learn information, or like the best way to like really enjoy information, is to apply it. Don't be that person that like reads something or like learns something and then you tweet about it and then you wait to see if it's gonna happen, or you say that you're gonna attract it, because like you're shitting yourself. Like there's no way that you're gonna be sitting on a couch after you read The Secret and shit's just gonna pop up. You got a mail that you got some random check that just slides underneath the door, $10,000.
A Ferrari pulls up in your driveway, like nah, bruh.
So the universe wants you, and this is just what we believe, but the universe wants you to apply yourself after you learn information. So the second you learn something and it makes you excited, don't just sit and ponder on it. Like apply that shit right away. Like go outside and go apply it, you know, in whatever route or whatever way that you can do it. But the problem is that if you apply too much information, or if you absorb too much information and you don't apply it, you're going to be overwhelmed with information and you're not going to know what to do with it, and you're also not going to know how to like be normal in human society. Like you're just going to be this information junkie that never knew how to apply anything. Right? So don't be that person that like learns something and then feels all cool and macho for it. Oh yeah, I know this because I used to do this. This is why I know this. Like I used to read The Secret at, 3-4 times. I used to watch it, every other week or whatever. And I used to think that I was a super cool kid and like I knew something that everyone else didn't know, and I was better than people because they didn't know what The Secret was. They were still these silly Christian kids that thought Jesus, whatever, I don't need to get into that, but like thought Jesus was going to grant all their wishes, and I'm like, no, I'm going to grant my, like just super egotistic. And I just want you guys to understand that like when you apply the things that you learn, just as much as you absorb the information, you're going to like 10x your results and blow your mind with whatever information that it was that you actually learned. Like apply that shit right away. Don't sit on it, because if you sit on it, it's not going to go anywhere. And the universe isn't going to say, well, you read your book today, I might throw that Ferrari in your garage next week. Like it just doesn't work like that. Like it wants you to experience things and make connections and experience adversity and earn it, because that's just how the world works. Everything is earned. And if you don't apply yourself, you're never going to earn it.
Yeah. To know and not to do is not to know at all.
For real, Kevin Trudeau is locked up, homie, but he'll be out soon. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm going to look this up right now.
Kevin Trudeau. I used to listen to him all back in the day, those disc CDs.
He might be out now.
There is 2 billion rich individuals in the crowd. I see you all smiling. That was trippy always at the start. I always thought that was fake though.
So, just kidding. Kevin Trudeau will be out in 5 years. He was locked up in 2013 for criminal contempt, and then he's serving a 10-year sentence in a federal prison camp in Alabama. So for those of you that don't know who Kevin Trudeau is, he created this shit on YouTube. Well, it's not on, it's on YouTube now, but he created it. It's called Ask, or what is it called again? Your Wish is Your Command.
Oh, yeah.
So one thing that you guys should do, and he's not a criminal, I don't think. Maybe with the health claims that he was making with these health products that he used to sell. I think the problem was he was like making false health claims about these health products that he used to sell, and used to say that they used to do amazing weight loss transformations, and some of the people didn't get results or whatever. But I think that the reason why he got locked up was just because he was sharing so much mindful information that like maybe the public wasn't supposed to hear, because he claims to be a part of like these big huge masterminds and secret societies, and has this huge extensive background in building businesses, and he's one of the most rich people to ever live, and has just so many good connections. And he shared information from the secret society and would go all over the world and host these masterminds where you got to pay like $10,000 to get in, and he would share their information. And I think
this is just what he said, though.
Yeah.
He said all of this, though.
Yeah,
There's no proof.
Yeah, but the only reason why I'm talking to you guys about this is because
it's good.
Your Wish is Your Command is really good information. So do we know if he's a scam artist or not? Maybe. Do we know, if he could have got locked up because he shared some information that he shouldn't have been sharing? Maybe. That's just how the world is. Like, I mean, newsflash, or hate to break it to you, but the government does not want us to be like these enlightened people that have limitless capabilities, because then they'll have less power. So like that's a completely different topic. I'm not going to get into that right now. But case in point, Kevin Trudeau shared a bunch of really good information and got locked up for whatever reason. But if you guys want to check him out, he has a 14 CD series called Your Wish is Your Command, and just teaches you essentially like how to master your mind, and proof of how it all works. And I applied all of these CDs. The first one's just a really long intro, but CD 2 kind of gets into it a little bit, and then CD 3 all the way up to CD 13 is like some life-changing information that I've been applying. This is like kind of how I got started, and really took control of like my mind, and now I don't really have like a bad day. I might have maybe a few bad moments, but I understand I need those to grow. But Kevin Trudeau really allows you to just make your mind this huge, tool to leverage, instead of, using it against yourself. So you should definitely check out Your Wish is Your Command. Kevin Trudeau is one of my favorite, people to listen to, even though he is in prison and he's got some baggage. But I fucking love him, honestly. Like,
it's good information. That's why I'm not gonna hate. But some of this stuff, I feel like he's making up about those crowds.
Yeah,
it just sounded.
You very well could be.
Yeah, who knows? It's good information nonetheless. So, yeah. Who else have you been? So Kevin Trudeau is one of the people that started you out. Who's been taking you along this journey, as far as knowledge and new ideas goes?
Well, I guess I can kind of start on how I first got started, just so you guys can know maybe a good place to start. But Jim Rohn is really awesome. He's this older. Well, he's old. He's an older gentleman that does like a lot of network marketing seminars, and I think he built Herbalife or something. Like, I think that was his background, but he just teaches a lot of cool, like, mindful, business oriented lectures. And then another one of my favorite motivators that I was growing up on is what's his name? Shit, I'm drawing a blank. Eric Thomas is super dope.
Oh, E.T. the hip
hop preacher. He will get you hype as hell. And then another dude is Les Brown. So in regards to like motivation, if you guys need like a pick-me-up, or if you need a boost, or if you're feeling down, or if you're feeling negative or pessimistic, put on E.T. He'll set you straight, because his story, I guarantee you, is 20 times harder than your circumstances. Like, his story, and I kind of just want you guys to like learn from him. I don't want to share too much of him, but his story is insane. Where he had to come from was fucking insane. And then same for Les Brown. He's just this amazing, mindful motivator that just really hits home with you, and he'll get you in the feels, and he'll get you really excited about making moves. And then Jim Rohn's more of a strategic guy. So instead of being that like high energy guy, Jim Rohn's kind of like that sneaky fox in the forest that's just like giving you intellect, like, and it's kind of low key and cool about it. But those three are like a really good way to start. And then in regards of like expanding your consciousness, Joe Rogan has some incredible podcasts. I love Joe Rogan's podcast. Honestly, we're probably only doing this because of Joe Rogan. Like, just because of Joe Rogan's podcast, like really influenced us to share and post content that we were talking about. Obviously on a smaller scale. But no, Joe Rogan's incredible. He brings on a bunch of people and learns from their perspective without really giving a biased opinion, which is awesome. And then who else do I really like? I'm trying to think. Alan Watts. I can't express enough how important Alan Watts has been in my life. If you YouTube Alan Watts and any kind of problem or whatever predicament that you're dealing with, there's a section for it, and how he explains himself is just it's easy to understand, and it's a pure way of explaining, you know, how to get yourself out of that position that you're in. And he's an extremely spiritual dude. Talks a lot about Buddhism, Taoism, and things like that. And that's probably one of my favorite guys, even though it's like a fam favorite. It's like Alan Watts. Everyone listens to him. But those are probably, like, off the top of my head, people that I can think of right now. I still listen to a shitload of Alan Watts. He's my go-to, and you know, I don't really get bored. He's one of those people that you just can't get bored listening to. Him and Joe Rogan. Literally listen to them for, you know, 6 to 8 hours a day. You know, at one point, like, it doesn't get old because the information is so good and they keep you excited the whole time. So.
Yeah, they tell a very story-like too. They're really good at, like, connecting the dots in a cool way.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, those are some cool people right there. Yeah, I don't know where we should bounce next with this.
So we talked about meditation,
Yoga.
Talked about food, talked about influencers. Man, I think that it's pretty solid for a podcast. I think that this is pretty good. If you guys have any, like, questions, leave them in the comments. If you guys have any topics that you want us to talk about in the future, leave them in the comments, and, you know, we can chat about it. But we've got some dinner to make. We've got a park to hit. There's jazz in the park tonight where we're from. We're about to hit that up. We're about to have some fun and enjoy the rest of our Sunday, super scorching hot Sunday evening.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. This is the motherfucking Lion's Den. And we appreciate you for listening.
Peace. Boom. Another one bites the dust.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one.